Hello, everyone. Hi. I welcome you to the marathon session for the English section for your Cooley examination. And over the course of 2.5 hours, sorry, we're going to discuss several things, basically every single thing which will help you to maximize your score in the English section. Right. Now, of course, you might have a very relevant question here that why is this session imperative to your progress? See, the reason is pretty simple. English is not just about knowing rules, it's also the application of rules in the accurate, precise manner under exam conditions. So that's the reason I want this session to be as interactive as possible. Please be proactive when you're responding in the chat box so that I know that you guys are also very diligently attending the session. Of course, when the class is interactive, it's fun on both the sides, right? Now the thing is, we're going to cover grammar, vocabulary, reading comprehension, you name it, we have got you covered. Okay, so let's get started. But before that, I have a very simple question here. Would you want to start with a reading comprehension passage or do you want to start with vocabulary first? Please let me know in the chat box quickly. I'm waiting for your answers here. Batao, do you want to start with a reading comprehension passage or do you want to start with vocabulary first? सी अगर ग्रामर के क्वेश्चंस पे आएंगे तो डेफिनेटली वील बी डिस्कसिंग द स्ट्रैटेजीज एज वेल वील बी ब्रेकिंग डाउन द क्वेश्चंस एंड वील डिस्कस द कॉन्सेप्ट सो डू नॉट वरी अबाउट दैट फॉर vocabulary there is no such concept, right? The more you must have practiced, the more you are going to remember on the day of the examination. So that is how it is. ठीक है, so I think everybody is of the opinion that we should start with vocabulary first. Then your wish is my command, so let's get started. Give me a second, okay? Okay, so this is from where we start today's session. Question number 17. Please read the question very carefully. The first question is asking you to pick out the nearest correct meaning. Correct meaning or another word for synonym. You're supposed to find out the synonym for the word that is given here. The word here is persuade. And guys, whenever you are writing your answers, please ensure that you are mentioning the question number so that I know which question you have given the answer to. Okay? Yes. We are going to do it in a cluster of 5 words. Okay, so I'm going to show you 5 words, then we'll discuss 5 words. Okay, that is how we are going to roll. Taking you to the next one. I hope you can see it here. And I think it's only Shruti who has mentioned the question number. Guys, please write down the question number. Otherwise, your answer is going to get lost in the volley of comments. Ready to see the next one? Taking you to the third one. The next one, very easy, I guess. Okay, so let's quickly discuss the first four questions before we move on to the next five. Okay, so 17th one, as you can see, you're supposed to find out the synonym, the appropriate synonym here. When we talk about persuading something, that means you might have seen a lawyer trying to persuade the judge, right? Persuade का मतलब होता है trying to convince somebody in the best possible way so that the other person agrees to what you were trying to imply, right? So यहाँ पे persuade का best answer क्या होना चाहिए? Convince. Now, when we talk about opinionated, there are some people who come across as having very firm beliefs. Somebody who puts forward their opinions in a really strong way. That is opinionated. Okay, but that is different from persuasion. When we talk about dissuade, dissuade is the opposite of persuade. That means nobody got convinced after your statement. So that is dissuading. When we talk about assure, assure is basically addressing the feeling that yes, you are there with somebody, right? Again, very different from persuasion. So the answer is convince. I hope you guys got it right. The next one is dilemma, a word that you must have very commonly heard and seen anywhere, everywhere, right? So dilemma का मतलब होता है a state of uncertainty when you cannot decide what is right for you. So dilemma का मतलब बहुत ही simple सी बात है, it's a confusion or state of uncertainty. There were many people who chose B as their answer, but chaos is different than dilemma. Chaos का मतलब होता है disorder. So disorder does not really mean uncertainty. Okay? It means a thing is in shambles, disorderly, disorganized, which is different from dilemma. Dilemma is a state of uncertainty, confusion, when you are perplexed. Okay? Moving to the next one, bland. You might have tasted food which is bland. Especially this happens when you are not feeling well or when you're sick. So your mother feeds you khichdi, right? Khichdi is one bland food. So can you guys guess what could be the meaning of the word bland here? क्या खिचड़ी खाने में बहुत मजा आती है? Is it full of flavors? It could be, but generally when we feed it to a sick patient, it's not. So, bland is something which is tasteless, does not have any peculiar taste. So, the answer should be D. But what is the meaning of the word pungent? I think you guys must have attended your chemistry lab sessions where you might have smelled H2S. H2S smells like rotten eggs. So, the smell of rotten eggs is pungent. ठीक है? फिर मूविंग फॉरवर्ड odorless का मतलब होता है having no peculiar smell, which is again different from taste. We are talking about taste here. A different sense organ is basically being talked here. So moving forward, acerbic. Is there anybody who already knows the meaning of the word acerbic? Please feel free to tell me in the chat box. अभिराज, एक बहुत सिंपल सा आंसर है इस चीज के लिए. अगर आप इंग्लिश पढ़ रहे हो तो इंग्लिश को हिंदी में पढ़ना. is obviously very against the idea of teaching English in obviously Hindi. तो मैं वहां पे यही बोलना चाहती हूँ कि हिंदी में तो मैं बात कर ही सकती हूँ, ऑफ कोर्स आई नो हिंदी एज वेल, बट द थिंग इज इंग्लिश टीचर इंग्लिश में ही जनरली पढ़ाती है, राइट? तो मूविंग फॉरवर्ड टू एसर्बिक, एसर्बिक का मतलब होता है जनरली इफ वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट टेस्ट इट्स बिटर, ओके? इट कुड बी when you hurt somebody in a really harsh manner. जैसे कभी कभी होता है ना कि you guys get into a fight and you say some words which you would want to take back immediately क्योंकि आपने एक दूसरे को इतना hurt कर दिया है, that is also acerbic. So that's the reason acerbic also cannot be our answer क्योंकि we are looking for something which is tasteless, okay? And bitter is also a taste. So moving to the next question. Trait. I think this one was the easiest of the lot. When I talk about trait, trait का मतलब होता है we all have some significant personality traits which sets us apart from everybody else. So personality traits या हम बोल सकते हैं उसे characteristics. ठीक है? And I think most people got this answer correct. So characteristics, हर किसी के different different features. That is exactly what the word trait means. And I think the rest of the three words are pretty easy and self-explanatory. So moving forward to the next one. Okay, I do not know your name. Somebody who has asked in the comment section, will your stream be enough? Now, the thing is, I'm talking about this particular session in the sense that it is going to capture every single thing that comes generally in the verbal ability section in Cooley exam. So we have tried to, put it in a comprehensive manner so that you do not have to, go for multiple sources. So if you attend this class, of course, you're going to get to learn few new things probably, and maybe it will be a sort of revision for you. So it totally is up to you whether you want to, actually take as much as you want. So that is exactly what the agenda of this class. 22nd one. Guys, it will be great if you could, discuss these things later. You are here for a purpose. I hope this class gives you the benefit that you are here for. So if you are not proactive in this class and talk about other things, of course, the purpose of this class doesn't get resolved, right? So yeah, please go ahead, ensure that you are answering. Ready to discuss? I think the last one was pretty easy. So, the first question is muttering. You generally mutter when you have lots of complaints. So, usually muttering is done under your breath. It is not openly or loudly done. So, mutter is synonymous with grumble. ग्रम्बल भी हम तब करते हैं जब हमारी बहुत सारी कंप्लेंट्स होती हैं, ठीक है? तो मटर एंड ग्रम्बल इज दैट ओनली. फिर उसके बाद मूविंग ऑन टू सल्किंग. यू सल्क व्हेन थिंग्स डू नॉट गो योर ओन वे. फॉर एग्जांपल, यू वांटेड अ न्यू बाइक और अ न्यू फोन, but your parents decided not to give it to you. So automatically you're going to sulk, okay? You are going to be in a bad mood. So that is sulking. And okay, you want me to explain it one by one? ठीक है, I can do that as well. Not a problem. So the first one is grumble. I was just trying to give you 5 questions to ponder upon, but ठीक है, even this is fine. Then, fastidious. Just because the word has fast in it, it has no relevance to the word fast. पहली बात तो, ठीक है? Fastidious means somebody who is so extremely particular about something. ठीक है, that they get finicky if things do not go their way. ठीक है, so somebody who is extremely careful, इतना careful कि वो problems create करने लग जाए. So the word fastidious actually means fuzzy. Fuzzy, finicky. Finicky is another word for the same. It has a negative connotation, as you must have noticed. एक तो होता है being careful और एक होता है being extremely careful that it poses a problem for everybody else. ठीक है? So you need to decide which one is you. So moving forward, the next word is attribute. Attribute is very easy. Again, something which is similar to trait, characteristic, attribute. The word attribute is synonymous with impute. Impute का भी मतलब होता है attribute. For example, if you, went for the new phone, you will be seeing its attributes, the respective features that it offers. So that is attributable. And moving forward, when we talk about in here का मतलब होता है the natural existing state of something. So when I talk about in here, I would like to give you an example of a manager. ठीक है, generally managers have the habit of delegating different jobs to different people. तो ये उनके role के साथ ही आता है. तो that is one inherent thing here. ठीक है, something which comes naturally with their job profile. So that is the meaning of inhere, something that exists naturally. Infer करना, infer का मतलब होता है something which is indirectly implied. Okay, you might have seen questions based on inference. And can anybody tell me what is the meaning of exonerate? Any idea what exonerate is? Oh, thank you so much, Noori. Exonerate means when you free somebody of blame. ठीक है? For example, किसी को आपने accuse किया कि this person has stolen my purse. But later on, you got to know that the purse was with you only. So obviously, eventually, that the other person would be exonerated from their crime, from their accusation. आप बोल सकते हो. तो free somebody from the blame. The next word is dialectic. Dialectic, in simple terms, is a logical argument. So automatically, I think तुम लोगों को आंसर इसका पता ही होगा. A logical argument. The answer is argumentation. I think constructive, instructive, informative, all three words are very common. Constructive का मतलब होता है something which brings forth something important. Constructive criticism भी होता है जिससे जिसकी मदद से आप better होते हो. ठीक है? When we talk about instructive, a teacher could be instructive. She could give you a list of instructions that you're supposed to follow. Informative, like this session is informative, right? Because you're going to learn so many new vocabulary words. Now, moving to germinate, I think this is one word which you might have seen in your bio textbooks when you were little. Germination के बारे में पढ़ा होगा. Germination in simple terms is sprouting. When the seeds start to sprout is germination, right? The next question. So now I'm going to discuss the question as it comes. Which one? Which one are you talking about? Exonerated one? Yeah. Now, should I take you to the next question? Okay. Okay, read the question very carefully. Now, from here onwards, you're supposed to find out the most suitable antonym. Antonym means opposite. How many of you know the answer of this? Let's see. Okay, so let's discuss. Prohibit. किसी चीज के लिए अगर आपको prohibit किया जा रहा है, that means somebody has asked you not to do it. ठीक है? So उसका opposite क्या होगा? To of course allow you or to give you the permission or to present to you the consent. ठीक है? Now, if you are of the opinion that allowance should be the answer, allow and allowance are two different words. तो दोनों का meaning बहुत अलग होता है. So allowance is generally a sum of money paid regularly to someone. So can this be our answer? बताओ. So the answer is permit. To present with the permit. Permit का मतलब होता है permission देना, and which is the opposite of prohibition. Now, the next question. I hope you have written down the meaning of allowance. देखो, to allow होता तो definitely we would have considered that as the answer, but allowance is a very different word. Taking you to the next one now. Yes, I think most people know the answer of this one. A pretty common word, agitated. When you are agitated, that means you are super mad, you are angry, you are furious. So the first word is a synonym, but we are looking for antonyms. What is the meaning of nauseous? Something that causes nausea. That means something that is so disgusting, vomit inducing. That is nauseous. Collected can have two meanings. Somebody who is very composed, and collected का मतलब simply to gather something. ठीक है? But we have the answer with us, which is peaceful. Somebody who is angry, the opposite of it is, of course, somebody who is peaceful, who is calm, who is tranquil in a situation which demands to be agitated. Right? I think most of you got the answer right. Very good. Let's take you to the next one. What is the opposite of complicated? Complicated का मतलब होता है something which is tangled, something which is puzzling. So these could be considered as synonyms of the word. Fragmented का मतलब होता है in pieces. So the opposite of complicated is uncomplicated or simple. Answer is D. Very good. Well done, guys. What's the opposite of fluctuation? Very good. Something which is fluctuating, like sometimes the electricity fluctuates. That means it varies constantly. That is fluctuating. The answer to this is stabilize. Something which is stable, which is not fluctuating. किसी चीज को बिल्कुल प्रॉपर अपनी फर्म पोजीशन पे establish होना, that is stabilization. Right? Conceive is to form an idea. Like I conceived the business idea when I was deeply in sleep, deep in sleep. ठीक है? I conceived the business idea when I was deep in sleep. That's how you can use it. The next one, do you know the meaning of amalgamation? This is that one word which you see in chemistry. Okay, amalgamation is a combination or fusion of things, right? Generally, you must have seen it in chemistry because तुमने alloys के बारे में सुना होगा. So alloys is a combination of several metals. तो यहाँ पे when we talk about synthesize, merge, combine, all of them can be considered as synonyms, but we are looking for an antonym. Opposite of fusion is separation. उस चीज को अलग करना. So separation is our answer. 31st one, and welcome to the class, Raviraj. Have you heard this word before? I can't really see any answers. And can anybody tell me whether this word has a positive connotation or a negative connotation? Like, is this word used in a positive way or a negative way? Okay, so first of all, no, this word does not have a positive connotation. It is a very negative word. And the meaning of this word is displaying inappropriate sexual desire. So, as you can see, the word has a negative connotation, and we are looking for a word which is opposite of that. Okay. Now the thing is, इसका opposite होता है chaste. I think fluid का मतलब something which freely flows, right? Like water, that is fluid. Devoted का मतलब होता है when you are 100% committed to something. When we talk about a lavish lifestyle, we are talking about a luxurious lifestyle. So the answer is chaste. Chaste का मतलब होता है somebody who is pure, modest, abstains from sexual desire or sexual behavior. So the opposite is chaste. Okay. Okay, Noori, I'll use some other pen then in that case. Do I need to rewrite this or is this okay? So the first one was displaying inappropriate sexual desire. Then the meaning of the word chaste is pure, modest, abstains from sexual behavior. So that person is known as chaste. Okay. So moving to the next one. Now this word is commonly seen in geography. I don't know how many of you remember your geography lessons. Yes, Mayank, I'll be using blue from now onwards. Yes, Noori, very good. Moon's distance from Earth. So basically, when we are talking about perigee, perigee is nearest point, nearest from the Earth or to the Earth. The point nearest to the Earth is perigee, and the opposite of it is obviously apogee, which means farthest from the Earth. Anybody who knows the meaning of the word descent? Dissent is disagreement. And if you have the assent from your parents, assent is agreement. Okay? So the next word is, I hope you are done writing this, and I hope this color is better suited to your needs. I think it's the same question, so we are going to move past that. Yes, 34th. Any answers? Do you know the meaning of radical? So, if we talk about the word radical, it means something which is essential, or in simple words, fundamental. And on the other hand, the opposite of it is something which is just externally bound, or something which is just surface level, doesn't have the required amount of depth. So, what should be the answer? Superficial, only external, surface level. Okay, the next one. अगर ये लिखना हो तो बता दो. I'll stay on this slide for another moment. Okay, so from the question 35th onwards, you are supposed to again find out the correct synonym or antonym. It could be either. Okay, तो हो सकता है कि आपको उन चार ऑप्शंस में से द परफेक्ट सिनोनिम मिल जाए, या हो सकता है आउट ऑफ द फोर ऑप्शंस यू विल गेट द परफेक्ट एंटोनिम. नाउ you need to use your brain in both ways, synonymously and of course thinking about the opposite of it. So one of my favorite words of all time, that is ephemeral. Our life is ephemeral, and it means very good. Noori, Devanshi, you guys have answered it correctly. Something that lasts for a short time, just like our life. A is the answer. Very good. Yes, exactly, Devesh. Only for a short period. That is ephemeral. But what is palliate? Which one are you talking about? Prashitha? Am I pronouncing your name right? Which one do you want me to explain? 31st one? Yeah, sure. 31st or 35th? This one? Yeah, I've already written the meanings here. So the meaning of the word lascivious is when you display inappropriate sexual desire. Okay? And when we talk about the opposite of it, the opposite of it is somebody who abstains from sexual desire, somebody who is far away from, exhibiting their sexual desires openly. So the opposite is chaste. Chaste, a person who is chaste is pure in their thoughts. Okay? So that is the answer. And I think we have got the answer for palliate as well. So when we talk about palliate, palliate is another word for pacifying. Pacifying का मतलब क्या होता है? Somebody who is trying to soothe you, to reduce the intensity of something, to reduce the severity of something. That is palliate. But it doesn't necessarily cure your problem. So that is why the best answer here is alleviate without curing. Another word for pacifying somebody, mellowing somebody down is alleviate or palliate. Okay, जैसे कि for example, you're hurt and your best friend tries to console you, tries to, soothe you. So that is pacifying, alleviating, palliate, all of those words. Okay. I'm moving forward to the next one. What should be the answer? And what is the meaning of inscrutable? Inscrutable means unreadable, not that easy to understand, enigmatic, mysterious. That is inscrutable. So उसका opposite क्या होगा? Something which is very clearly readable, something which is very clear in general. So the answer is transparent. And the others can neither be the synonym or the antonym of this word because pompous means somebody who is extremely arrogant. घमंडी बोल सकते हैं हम इसे. Ostensible, something that appears to be true but is not actually true. And pervasive, pervasive is prevalent. Like environment degradation is pervasive, हर जगह देखने को मिलता है. So that is prevalent or pervasive. Are you done writing this or should I wait here? And you guys guessed it right. Yashvardhan, Shruti, both of you, very good. Okay, Shruti, let me know once you're done. Taking you to the next one. Abrogate is a word commonly used in law, but I'm not really sure how many of you have heard the word serendipity. Shall we discuss? Okay, we have got our answers. Serendipity means happy chance discovery. And The best example of this is Sir Isaac Newton sitting below an apple tree and the apple fell on his head, which led him to discover gravity. That could be serendipitous. What is the meaning of abrogation? Abrogate करना यानी कि to officially repeal or abolish a law. So as I've already told you, the word is usually used in law. Yashvardhan, actually, in the last few questions, you are supposed to either identify the right synonym or antonym. Both of them are obviously not given. आपको चार options को evaluate करना है and see if you can find the best suitable synonym or the best suitable antonym. ठीक है? So the last few questions are based on both. Yashvardhan, this is a very common question type, by the way. So the answer, I did not discuss the answer. The answer here is B, which is a synonym of serendipity, unexpected, fortunate discovery. Okay? Taking you to the next one. And after that, we are going to start with our first reading comprehension passage. Not a problem, Yashvardhan. Yes, because the first few questions were very clear in their instructions. I do understand. Prashita, it will be great if you could just, tell me to explain a particular question when we are on that question. Because otherwise, I will have to go back and that will kind of make the other people lose focus. Of course, I can explain the 35th one, but let me first discuss the 39th one. Ready to discuss? Yes. When we talk about language, we are talking about something that mentions lack of energy or something that has to do with slow, relaxed style of working. Okay. And the opposite of it is something which shows strong commitment, a lot of energy, right? So the best example, the best antonym of the word is robust. This is an antonym, by the way. एंड रोबस्ट का मतलब वही होता है फुल ऑफ एनर्जी स्ट्रॉन्ग डिपेंडेबल एंड डज एनीबडी नो द मीनिंग ऑफ मेलिफ्लुअस कोई बात नहीं कोई बात नहीं मेलिफ्लुअस बहुत इजीली हम याद रख सकते हैं a word which is very closely attached to the word melodious. It's a synonym of melodious. So you might have heard Sonu Nigam or Shreya Ghoshal sing in their mellifluous voices, right? So mellifluous is melodious, sweet voice. Exactly, pleasant. What is the meaning of sagacious? Sagacious, the word comes from sage. And sages are usually what? साधु संत लोग जो होते हैं वो यूजुअली कैसे होते हैं? They are very wise, intellectual. So that is the meaning of the word sagacious. And the last one is pungent. So I already told you, you might have smelt rotten eggs. तो rotten eggs की जो smell होती है वो pungent smell होती है. The smell that you do not like is a pungent smell. That's simple. Okay. Now we are done with a good chunk of vocabulary words and I did agree with you guys. So now we are going to start with the first passage of the day, which is also our first four questions. So I would like to take you there. But before that, let's set some ground rules here. How are we going to solve these passages? Okay. So generally, what exactly is your mode of operation when you are solving passages? Do you read the passage first or do you read the questions first? What do you do? Tell me in the chat box. कुछ लोगों की आदत होती है पैसेज पहले सॉल्व करने की, कुछ लोगों की आदत होती है क्वेश्चंस देखने की. सो जनरली इन माय क्लासेस आई kind of make it a point that you read the questions first, because when you read the questions first you at least know what you are looking for in the passage, and that saves you a lot of time. So I think most people agree with me here. Yashwardhan, Devanshi, Prashitha, Shruti, and girl boss, I do not know your name, but really cool name. So yeah, all of you have the habit of reading the questions first. So well done. We're going to do exactly that. You are going to read the questions. You will have your pen and paper in front of you. If in case there is a need for you to write down any keywords, now keywords could be name of people, keywords could be name of places, or maybe words like can be inferred, can't be inferred, or words like main idea, tone. तो ये सारे वर्ड्स को आपको हाईलाइट करना रहता है. तो राइट नाउ यू डू नॉट हैव द पेपर इन फ्रंट ऑफ यू, बट यू डू हैव द स्क्रीन इन फ्रंट ऑफ यू. So you can just write down the keyword question number one. This is the keyword. So that is exactly what you will be looking for in the passage. ठीक है? And I suggest this only. Questions, marking the keywords, passage, marking the keywords in the passage as well, and then finally coming to the questions to attempt it. ठीक है? तो मेरे हिसाब से भी QPA is the best method. उसका रीजन बहुत सिंपल सा है. जब हमें ऑलरेडी पता है what is the target that we are looking for, तो हम बहुत क्लियरली उस टारगेट को ढूंढने के लिए उस पैसेज में घुसते हैं. ठीक है? और जब हमें उससे ऑब्वियसली तुम्हारा टाइम बहुत ज्यादा बच जाएगा. So let's get started with the first few questions here. There are four questions to every passage. So this is the first question, by the way. अच्छा, एक और बात, before we move forward with this. So you might come across some really new vocabulary words when you're going through this passage. So I generally do not have the habit of telling the meanings of the vocabulary words in advance, because that kind of defeats the purpose of you solving the passage on your own. So do you want me to highlight those words for you and tell you the meaning right away? Or should I stop and wait till the end when I start with the explanation? Rashita, I have been speaking in English only. I hope that's all right. Yeah. So coming back to this, my question to you is, should I give you the meanings of the difficult vocabulary words in advance? That is something that I generally do not do because it simplifies the passage. And in the exam, I'm not going to come and help you. The second is, I wait till the end. When I start with the explanation, I also explain the meanings of those words. So do let me know in the chat box what do you want me to do. Meanwhile, you can continue reading your question. Okay, the second one. ठीक है? That's the first. I think most of you are of the opinion that I should wait for later. ठीक है? But I'll definitely highlight those words for you. Also, let me know if you're done reading the first question. Okay, I do not know what exactly is your name or how is it pronounced. Anau. Is that your real name? But yeah, so the thing is, when we decided to have this session, the idea was pretty clear. We wanted to give you the best of every single thing that is usually asked in the verbal ability section. Again, uh, the questions that we are discussing here, these are the kind of questions that usually are seen. But I cannot really guarantee you that this is going to help you crack the exam, but it will definitely improve the way you strategize things and improve the way you analyze and evaluate information. Also, needless to say, it is going to give you some really good vocabulary words, which is going to be really, beneficial for you in the long run. So yeah, Shrikesh is the name. So I hope Shrikesh, I have cleared your query here. Taking you to the next question now. Thanks, Noori, for helping me out on that question. And guys, do not answer the questions right now. You haven't read the passage. जब तक passage नहीं पढ़ोगे तो आंसर कैसे करोगे? The only thing that you are supposed to do is highlight your keywords. जैसे कि let me help you with the keyword here. Author and disagree. That's the keyword. Let me know if you want to see the next one. Just write next in the chat box. Prikesh, Noori has already answered your question. 90 is considered a good score for Central Campus. And Devesh, do not answer the questions. अभी तुमने passage ही नहीं पढ़ा है, रुक जाओ. Yes, Yashvardhan. Yes, so usually the general parameter is scoring above 90 marks. And that's considered good enough. Then they also have their PIs. So if you do not get 90, you do not get in. Or maybe some other campus then. The other campuses are not good enough, I think. Everybody aims for Christ University, Bangalore, usually. Taking you to the last question. No, Survi, actually, they are not of the opinion to release their question papers anywhere. So we haven't really got our hands on PYPs when it comes to Cooley and PYQs. And usually, yes, the stuff is already on Supergrad's website. Finally, taking you to the passage. Are you done reading this one? I hope you enjoy the passage. It's really interesting, by the way. Okay, so here you go with the passage. By the way, I think you won't be able to read the last line, right? Yes. So last line के अगर बारे में मैं बात करूँ तो I would just like to read it out for you. I think of him as a sturdy wagon, one that keeps rolling along, no matter the condition of the road. Okay? So should I write it somewhere? I think of him as a sturdy wagon, one that keeps rolling along, no matter what the condition of the road. That's the last line. Let me know once you are done reading this much so that I can take you to the next slide. Yashvardhan is done. What about the others? Ready? Okay. Um, you want the PDF of this class? Yashvardhan, I'll see what I can do. Let me just talk to the management and let me get back to you on this one, okay? Also would love to hear about how do you want to label this passage in terms of level of difficulty? Is it easy, moderate, or difficult for you? Okay, moderate to difficult. Should I move to the next slide? Also, what's the genre of the passage? Any idea? We'll see what we can do about current affairs. I'll definitely forward your query. Let's hope you have a session soon for that. Taking you to the next slide now. Okay, the genre of the passage is psychology. We talk about human behavior, right? And if you are done reading the passage, you have the first question right in front of you. If you have any answers for that, please feel free to write it down. Okay. See, I'll clear that out for you. So, genre is the category of the passage. For example, you might read about science and technology, current affairs, legally inclined passages, then psychology, philosophy. These are considered as genres. Whereas when we talk about the tone of the passage, we are talking about the writer's feelings and emotions towards the subject matter. So, tone is very different from the genre. I hope that's clear. Any answers for the question number one? Nouri is all set. Taking you to the next one. The author most likely to disagree with. Are you done reading the third one? Any answers for that? All right, so nobody has answered this one, but I'm still taking you to the last question. Shall we start with the passage? Ready? How many of you enjoyed the passage? Chalo. I think let's get started with the passage now. But before that, let's also discuss the difficult words. So, is there anybody who already knows the meanings of the words that I have highlighted, like ruminating? Ruminating का मतलब होता है brooding. Brooding का मतलब होता है इतना ज़्यादा सोच लो that it leads to overthinking. Okay? So, in simple words, it is overthinking. Then we have bouts. So bouts का मतलब क्या होता है? Any idea? And it's not related to about, guys. Short periods of intense activity. Then we have the third word, which is relinquishing. Relinquishing means to give up. And crucible is just a container. So here it has been used metaphorically. It hasn't been used in the literal sense of the word crucible कि कोई container लाके रख दिया नहीं. It has been used as a metaphor. Then we have impervious. If somebody is impervious, that means they are unbothered. I'm going to take you to the next slide to discuss the next list of words. Slings and arrows. What is the meaning of this idiomatic phrase? It means hardships and criticism. Then we have unmoored. Unmoored means something that lacks stability. And if you are wallowing, wallowing का मतलब होता है when you think about something again to a point where you end up having self pity. ठीक है? सो सेल्फ पिटिंग वे में जब आप किसी चीज के बारे में सोच रहे होते हो। By the way, do not worry even if you are not able to note it down, because when I reach on this slide, you will have plenty of time to note down these words. Blithely means something done in a carefree manner. And even keeled का मतलब होता है something which is stable. Okay? You can also call it calm and composed. And the last slide, we have unflappable. Unflappable means again calm and composed. And if you have heard of Shakespeare, you might have heard of his play Tempest. Tempest means storm. Yes. So we are done with the meanings. Now it's time for us to discuss the passage. तो अब चीजें काफी आसान हो चुकी होंगी तुम लोगों के लिए, because now you already know the meanings. Let's try to understand what this passage was all about in very simple terms. ठीक है? तो मैं सबसे पहले तो एक सिनेरियो प्रेजेंट करना चाहती हूँ कि imagine you and your friend, you both go through something really bad. Okay, for example, failed a really big test. ठीक है, तुम लोगों ने एक टेस्ट दिया और दोनों ही फेल हो गए उस टेस्ट में. Now the thing is, you feel that you are stuck thinking about the test over and over again, replaying everything in your head. On the other hand, there is your friend who just shrugs it off, takes a deep breath, moves on with his life. तो एक जो था वो तो मूव ऑन कर गया, दूसरा जो है दे आर स्टिल स्टक. नाउ व्हाट कुड बी द रीजन फॉर दीज टू डिफरेंट रिएक्शंस टू द सेम प्रॉब्लम? कुछ समझ में आया अभी तक जो समझाया मैंने कि नहीं समझ में आया? लेट मी नो. Because the narrator of the story actually talks about the same thing. She says that she keeps on replaying whatever wrong has happened in her life. It could be how a boyfriend broke up with her, it could be a failed test, it could be a financial mistake. उसी चीज के बारे में बार बार सोचती रहती है. On the other hand, there is her husband who does not even give two thoughts to that. He आप बोल सकते हो कि जब भी वो प्रॉब्लम में आता है तो he spends some time sitting on that problem, but after a certain period of time he has that ability to bounce back to real life very quickly. And that is something which inspires awe in the mind of the narrator. ठीक है, तो अब बात ये है कि some people like you in the sense, ये जो अब मैंने अभी जो स्टार्टिंग में सिनेरियो दिया था, some people feel stress very very deeply. ठीक है, it's like their brains are wired to hold on to the worries. कुछ लोग होते हैं जो अपनी worries को पकड़ के बैठे रहते हैं. ठीक है, it's just like a loop, a vicious circle that you keep on visiting. It's like a song which is stuck over and over and over again. And scientists call this very आप बोल सकते हो state of mind as rumination. Exactly, Noori. So rumination का मतलब यही होता है कि when you think about something to a point that it leads to a downward spiral, it leads to overthinking. और overthinking कभी भी अच्छी होती है क्या? बताओ. And the reason why I'm asking you this question, क्योंकि overthinking is actually something which is closely attached to depression and anxiety. ठीक है, जो इंसान सबसे ज्यादा ओवरथिंक करता है वो बहुत जल्दी एंजाइटी रिडन डिप्रेस्ड हो जाता है. ठीक है, सो मूविंग फॉरवर्ड विद दिस थॉट, अभी आगे चल के पता चलता है even when you know that you are in this downward spiral, you can't really help yourself. It's impossible to stop when once you start with the overthinking pattern. ठीक है, and that's the reason, क्योंकि तुम्हें लगता है कि that is the only way to stay in control of that problem. जब मैं overthink करूंगी तभी मैं उस problem को अपने control में रख सकूंगी. But again, that's a very faulty thought process, I would say. ठीक है, so moving forward हमें पता चलता है कि other people, जैसे कि यहाँ पे example दिया हुआ है of the husband, there is also an example of this doctor. What's the name of the doctor? क्या नाम दिया हुआ है? Kelly. Yes. So these people do not react the same way. They have a very superficial reaction to a superficial problem. ठीक है? They do experience stress in their own ways. ठीक है? But instead of getting stuck on a particular problem, they have this natural ability to bounce back real quick. ठीक है, and it's like they have this built-in shock absorber kind of a system in their body, जिसकी वजह से वो easily problem से बाहर निकल जाते हैं. एटलीस्ट ऐसा लगता तो है हमें देखने में कि ये लोग बहुत easily problems को solve कर देते हैं. ठीक है, so moving to the next page here. हाँ, तो बहुत सारे रीजंस होते हैं जिसकी वजह से पीपल रिएक्ट डिफरेंटली टू स्ट्रेस. ठीक है, जैसे कि सम ऑफ दिस कम्स फ्रॉम जीन्स ऑल्सो. सो जेनेटिकली यू आर मेड लाइक दैट यू डील विथ स्ट्रेस इन अ डिफरेंट वे. ठीक है, इट इज द बायोलॉजिकल कोड और समथिंग दैट यू हैव इनहेरिटेड फ्रॉम योर फैमिली. आपकी फैमिली में भी कुछ कुछ लोग होंगे जो बहुत ओवरथिंक कर रहे हैं, एंड दैट्स द रीजन यू ऑल्सो हैव दैट हैबिट. और मे बी इन योर फैमिली you have people who take things lightly and move on very easily. So you also become one of them, right? It could be your upbringing also. Upbringing in the sense, if you have grown up with really calm people, बहुत ही calm and composed लोगों के आसपास अगर if you have grown up, then automatically you will also learn to handle stress in the same way, right? Now here is a big question for that. So, should we all try to be like them only, like the husband that has been mentioned here or the doctor that has been mentioned here? बताओ, क्या हम सबको वैसे ही बन जाना चाहिए? ऐसा possible है क्या? So the writer asks a very relevant question. Should we all be like the husband or doctor? Or is it okay to have emotional ups and downs? तुम लोगों को क्या लगता है? Is it okay to have emotional ups and downs? Don't you think it's a part and parcel of everybody's life to have those emotional ups and downs? है ना? तो बस बात यह है कि हम लोग जो सब भगवान ने बनाए हैं, we are not really copy paste of each other. We are all individuals. We deal with things differently. तो हमें उस तरीके से अपने स्ट्रेस को मैनेज करना चाहिए. Now the thing is, the truth is, when it comes to emotions, even the tough ones, when we are talking about tough emotions, they are also a part of a meaningful life. ठीक है? Like feeling sad, feeling stressed, anxiety can sometimes actually push people to understand themselves better, don't you think? Whenever you have been tested, तब आपको ऐसा नहीं लगा कि आपको अपने बारे में कुछ नया अनलॉक होते हुए नजर आ रहा है? होता है ना ऐसा? आपको तो पता भी नहीं होता है how much courageous you are until and unless you are put in a difficult situation. So बस यहाँ पे वही बात हो रही है कि sometimes these negative emotions also help us to understand ourselves better. It also give us, chances to become better, improvise ourselves. And फिर उसके बाद बात ये भी होती है कि but if stress takes over your life and stops you from enjoying life, now that is going to be lethal for you. ठीक है, जैसे कि यहाँ पे अभी आई थिंक नूरी ने एक कमेंट लिखा है, वी शुड नो द टाइम टू मूव ऑन. दिस इज एब्सोल्युटली नेसेसरी. नो व्हेन टू मूव ऑन. एंड आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट दिस इन लाइफ, आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट दिस इन एग्जामिनेशन ऑल्सो. नो व्हेन टू मूव ऑन फ्रॉम वन क्वेश्चन टू नेक्स्ट. ठीक है, तो बात यहाँ पे ये है कि कभी कभी ऐसा भी होता है दैट स्ट्रेस ओवर पावर्स योर लाइफ एंड इट स्टॉप्स यू फ्रॉम एंजॉइंग लाइफ. एंड अगेन, under this circumstance or situation, what you should start doing is find healthier ways to cope up. ठीक है, have a coping mechanism, have find ways in which you can strategize your stress in a much more reasonable manner. You can talk to someone. यहाँ पे कुछ measures भी दिए हुए हैं, like you can talk to someone, you can meditate, you can even just remind yourself that not every thought deserves your attention. अगर आपने ऐसा भी अपने आप को समझा लिया तो ऑटोमेटिकली आफ्टर अ सर्टेन पीरियड ऑफ टाइम यू विल बी आउट ऑफ दैट मिजरी, राइट? सो Being super chill all the time is not necessarily the goal, and nobody can be super chill all the time. ठीक है? So हो यहाँ पे हो सकता है बहुत सारे लोग हो, I'm just a chill boy, I'm just a chill girl, but you cannot really be chill all the time, and that's not even the goal. The real trick is finding that balance. आपको वो बैलेंस ढूंढने की जरूरत है. ठीक है? So you need to learn how to experience those emotions without actually let them take over your life. So finding that thin line is basically what we should all strive for. And that is the summary of the passage. अब बताओ क्या passage difficult था? मुझे तो काफी इंटरेस्टिंग लगा, ये बहुत कहानी की तरह था, एंड समथिंग आई थिंक विच इज वेरी रिलेटेबल टू आवर डे टू डे लाइव्स, बिकॉज स्ट्रेस इज समथिंग विच वी ऑल गो थ्रू. एंड राइट नाउ यू गाइज आर एट अ जंक्चर जहाँ पे तुम लोगों को रोज स्ट्रेस फील होता होगा, राइट? तो बस अब यहाँ पे कहानी हमारी खत्म होती है. इफ यू वांट टू क्लिक अ पिक्चर, टेक अ स्क्रीनशॉट ऑफ दिस सो दैट तुम्हारे पास वर्ड्स के मीनिंग्स रहे, यू कैन डू दैट. Are you done taking the screenshot? Let's discuss the first question now. So the first question is about weakening the author's argument about varying responses to stress and adversity. So, do you guys agree that we all have different ways of dealing with stress and anxiety? Yes or no? क्या हम सब लोग अलग अलग तरीके से डील करते हैं? जैसे फॉर एग्जाम्पल आई रियली लाइक टू गो ऑन अ शॉपिंग स्प्री व्हेन आई एम फीलिंग वेरी वेरी लो. ठीक है? और मे बी आई जनरली टॉक टू माई फ्रेंड्स और लिसन टू म्यूजिक. तो ये मेरा तरीका है, तुम लोगों का तरीका कुछ और हो सकता है. सो वी आर सपोज टू वीकन दिस थॉट प्रोसेस अबाउट वेरिंग responses to stress and adversity. So when we talk about the first option, empirical studies showing that in general stress responses are largely uniform. तो मैंने तुम लोगों से एक क्वेश्चन पूछा था कि हमारे तरीके अलग अलग होते हैं स्ट्रेस से डील करने के. तुमने बोला हाँ, हमें इसको वीकन करना है, हमें ये बताना है कि एवरीबडी डील्स विद स्ट्रेस इन द सेम वे. तो आंसर तो तुम लोगों को, अच्छा, यशवर्धन लाइक्स टू ईट. दैट्स ग्रेट. You stress eat, that means. So, the first one is our answer. क्योंकि यहाँ पे लिखा हुआ है कि we all deal with stress uniformly, जो कि weaken कर देता है इस argument को कि हम सब stress के साथ different तरीके से deal करते हैं. Did you get my point or not? Please read. We are supposed to weaken the thought that we all have different ways to deal with stress and adversity. तो हमें इसे वीकन करना है. वीकन कैसे करेंगे? ये प्रूफ करके कि हम सब स्ट्रेस के साथ इक्वली यूनिफॉर्मली डील करते हैं. तो यहाँ पे वही बताया गया इन द फर्स्ट ऑप्शन, एम्पेरिकल स्टडीज शोइंग दैट इन जनरल स्ट्रेस रिस्पॉन्सेज आर लार्जली यूनिफॉर्म. बट हम सबको ही पता है कि इट्स नॉट यूनिफॉर्म, राइट? So first one is the answer. Why this cannot be the answer? Personal anecdotes from people who claim to have dramatically altered their stress responses through meditation. So meditation भी तो एक varying mechanism हुआ. ये weaken करने की जगह strengthen कर रहा है. ठीक है? Sociological research suggesting that cultural factors heavily influence how stress is perceived and responded to. It just adds a new thought to ponder upon. But it does not weaken or solves our query. It's just additional information. ये ना weaken कर रहा है ना strengthen कर रहा है. तो इसीलिए C will be eliminated. Psychological theories proposing that stress responses could be fundamentally linked to early childhood experiences. देखो, यहाँ पे भी cultural factors की बात हुई, यहाँ पे early child experiences की बात हुई, which is also the factor that we are discussing. but both of them are only discussing the factors. They are not proving the point that we have the same way of coping with stress, adversity, anxiety. तो इसीलिए बेस्ट आंसर हमारा क्या होगा? ऑप्शन ए itself. I hope you have understood. Yes, no, please let me know in the chat box. Taking you to the second one. With which of the following statements would the author of the passage most likely disagree? किस चीज से वो disagree करेगी? Now the thing is, if you look at the first one, emotional responses to stress and adversity can vary significantly among individuals. इस चीज से तो राइटर अग्री कर रहा है कि हम सब बहुत अलग अलग तरीके से स्ट्रेस एंड एडवर्सिटी से डील करते हैं. It is also given in the last paragraph, right? Experiencing emotional turbulence in response to stress and adversity is inherently unhealthy. Is the writer trying to tell you that when you experience stress or when you experience emotional turbulence, it's unhealthy? Stress होना ही नहीं चाहिए. क्या राइटर ये एक्सप्लेन करने की कोशिश कर रहा था कहीं पे? बताओ. That having stressful thought is unhealthy. So this is our answer. The writer is going to disagree with this. According to the writer, it's totally healthy to have anxiety, stress regarding issues. You need to learn better ways to deal with it. That's it. ठीक है? तो बस the factors contributing to an individual's response to stress could be multifaceted, potentially involving genetics and upbringing. तो मैंने तुम लोगों को दोनों ही चीजें बताई थी कि ये genetics भी हो सकते हैं, ये upbringing भी हो सकती है. If you have been raised in a family which is very calm, you are going to be very calm when you are handling stress. ठीक है? तो yes, the writer agrees with this also. And the last one, personal observations and real life examples can serve to illustrate diversity. The writer herself gave the example of her husband and the doctor. यही समझाने के लिए कि how different people have different ways to cope up with stress. So D is also something that the writer would agree with. Okay, taking you to the next one. I hope this is clear. And this question was entirely based on extreme words. Do you know what extreme words are? So first of all, you need to be super careful of extreme words. किसी को पता है what's the meaning of the word assumption? Assumption is something that is held to be true without proof. किसी चीज को हमने मान लिया कि ये सच है, लेकिन हमारे पास उसका प्रूफ नहीं. जैसे कि फॉर एग्जाम्पल, आई एम कैरिंग एन अम्ब्रेला. सो तुम लोग क्या सोचोगे इसके बारे में? व्हाट विल यू अज्यूम इफ आई एम कैरिंग एन अम्ब्रेला? बताओ. If I have an umbrella in my hand, so you are going to assume that it is rainy outside or it is super hot. Sunlight. ठीक है? Exposure to sunlight. दोनों में से कुछ एक ही चीज सोचोगे. But are you going to go out and check whether it's rainy or the sun is piercing? No. Nobody is going to go out and check it. You are going to assume it to be true without having any evidences. तो यहाँ पे भी हमने क्या assume कर लिया कि ये सच है? Now, the author assumes that rumination is the only. First of all, be very careful of extreme words. ठीक है? Acquisition is different. ठीक है? Acquisition is different from assumption. Coming back to only. क्या सिर्फ एक ही रीजन था उसके हस्बैंड का डिफरेंट तरीके से डील करने का स्ट्रेस का, एंड दैट इज हिज स्कैंडिनेवियन सॉरी रुमिनेशन इज द ओनली कॉज ऑफ देयर डिप्रेशन एंड एंजाइटी? क्या सिर्फ अकेला यही कॉज होता है? आई वुड लाइक टू टेक यू टू द पैसेज. वेट, आई टेक यू टू द पैसेज वेयर द राइटर हैज डिस्कस्ड डिफरेंट थिंग्स. सो यहाँ पे बताया गया है Inherent temperament, influence of our upbringing, environment seem to dictate our reactions to stress and adversity, sculpting our emotional resilience. So there could be multiple reasons, not just one reason, which is ruminating. Only is an extreme word. Only का मतलब होता है बस ये अकेला reason है डिप्रेशन और एंजाइटी का तो नहीं. The author assumes that every person's response to stress and adversity is primarily, this is another extreme word. तो क्या राइटर ने ये बोला कि people's way of dealing with stress and anxiety primarily depends only on their genetics. Primarily is another extreme word. क्या सिर्फ genetics पे dependent होता है? तुम लोग बताओ. Tell me. अभी मैंने डिस्कस किया था. It was genetics, it was upbringing, it was your general environment. So not just genetics. Another extreme word. This will be eliminated, this will be eliminated. The author assumes that experiencing emotional ups and downs in response to adversity is not necessarily a negative trait. तो ये तो मैंने क्वेश्चन तुम लोगों से ही पूछा था कि इमोशनल अप्स एंड डाउन्स इज अ गुड थिंग और अ बैड थिंग. ये तो सभी के साथ होता है. ठीक है. तो it is not inherently negative. So this is our answer. The author assumes that their husband's resilience to stress is solely because of his Scandinavian descent. इसका मतलब है just because he has been born in a Scandinavian family and that's the reason he deals with stress in a much lighter, relaxed way. तो क्या ऐसा हो सकता है कि हर Scandinavian family ही इतनी calm, composed, इतनी cool हो हर चीज के लिए? Again, that was an extreme word. So, guys, you learned three extreme words: only, primarily, solely. Other words are all, always, mostly. ये हमारे extreme words होते हैं. And remember, whenever you come across these words, you need to see whether the words have been used in the passage as well for you to have it as your answer. अगर passage में भी extreme terms use हो रहे हैं, तभी तुम्हारा extreme word वाला answer सही है. ठीक है? So now, moving to the last question of this passage, which of the following pieces of additional information would most strengthen the author's argument about varying responses to stress and adversity? तो basically अब हमें पहले हमने weaken किया था इसी point को, now we are supposed to strengthen it. That means we need to provide some evidences, some logical reasoning to understand that everybody deals with stress in a different way. So the best, I think, is again option A itself. If somebody provides you with scientific research showing that there are significant genetic differences between people who respond differently to stress, तो इसी से ये समझ में आ जाएगा कि we show variation. If we are genetically different, that also means we are showing variations. We deal with things in a different way. So this is our answer. It strengthens the point that yes, we have varying responses. अच्छा, बाकी भी देख लेते हैं. Anecdotal evidence. Anecdotal का मतलब होता है कहानी के through. From the author's personal acquaintances who haven't observed varying stress responses. तो ये आधा तो सही था. But this is partially false. Who haven't observed varying stress responses. That means it weakens, not strengthens. Then, statistics on the prevalence of mental health issues like depression and anxiety in the general population. It's just a general point, nothing related to the question. It neither strengthens nor weakens. And a personal testimony from an individual who believes that genes have no impact on responses to stress. Again, this does not strengthen but weaken it. Because if genes have no impact, that means there is no variation. But we are supposed to show variation. Okay? So the answer is option A. Now, I'm sure that you guys must be tired after, solving this passage. So we are going to go with something lighter now. जैसे हमने पहले vocabulary solve किया था. Let's go with more vocabulary and grammar questions. So I'm taking you to the part. We're almost done with vocabulary here. But yes, you've got another match the following situation. So what you're supposed to do is you're going to write. How are you going to write your answers? 1, and suppose the answer is D. So this is the first, second C, third F, like that. This is how you're going to write your answers. So you are supposed to, again, find the correct synonym or antonym pair. तो यहाँ पे भी दोनों ही चीजें आपको ढूंढनी है, तो बी वेरी केयरफुल विथ योर आंसर्स. Idioms and phrasal verbs, I don't really think we have, I think, wait, अगर idioms and phrasal verbs ही करना है, तो last few questions are based on that. So I'll take you there. Wait. You wanted idioms, you have got idioms. Chalo, let's start from here then, in that case. Shall we discuss? When you see eye to eye with somebody, that also means that you agree with them. And if you do not see eye to eye with somebody, that means you disagree with them. So the answer should be to see eye to eye means to agree, to be in agreement with each other. Very good. A jaundiced eye. Jaundiced eye is, I'm sure you guys must be confused between A and D, right? Always remember when you talk about jealousy, jealousy is associated with color green, whereas jaundice is associated with color yellow. So a jaundiced eye is being prejudiced. What is the meaning of prejudice? That means having a preconceived notion, being judgy, in simple words. और अगर तुम्हें ग्रीन विथ एनवी आ गया या फाइटिंग द ग्रीन मॉन्स्टर आ गया, तो इट इज यूजुअली टॉकिंग अबाउट जेलसी. ठीक है, तो ग्रीन कलर जो है वो जनरली एसोसिएटेड होता है जेलसी से, तो याद रखना उस चीज को. देन दिस इज सुपर इजी. You usually see red when you are furious, when you are super mad about something. To see red means to be super mad, angry, furious, something which is infuriating to you. So, yes, answer is A itself. Okay, Harsh, I'll definitely forward this particular message to the respective authority. We'll do something about it immediately. Okay? Okay. Coming back to push somebody to the wall, and it does not mean to defeat somebody or to knock him down because both of them, first of all, are similar. So, guys, if you see two options that are similar, that means both will be eliminated. That is a clear cut sign. अच्छी खासी hint है ये तो दोनों भी eliminate करो सबसे पहले. To push somebody to the wall, that means to humiliate somebody. That means to force somebody to do something that they do not want to do, or to bully somebody, bulldoze them into doing something that they don't want, and pushing them to the point of humiliation. So that is the answer, to humiliate him. What is the meaning of to heckle somebody? Heckle means using jeering remarks to taunt somebody, that is heckling. Like usually teachers have to encounter hecklers, and I think you guys would agree. No, no, don't worry about it. I won't. It's a secret. Okay? Very easy, I guess. To be in two minds, we did discuss the word dilemma in the beginning. Do you remember? Dilemma? That's exactly what this is. To be in two minds, that means you can't really decide for yourself. You are uncertain. To be uncertain is to be in two minds. Kind of reminds me of Titanic. Bichara Jack. Have you watched Titanic? The answer is, if you're leaving somebody to sink or swim, that means you're leaving them on their fate. Like if destiny wishes, then he'll survive, or if not, then he'll end up dying. So the answer is to leave somebody to their own fate. किस्मत अच्छी हुई तो बच गए, किस्मत बुरी हुई तो मर गए. Right? So the answer is B. हिंदी में बोलते हैं गड़े मुर्दे उखाड़ना. Do you remember that? गड़े मुर्दे उखाड़ना. So what should be the answer? Ripping up old sores. Very good. To revive a quarrel which was almost forgotten. What is the meaning of censure? Censure means strongly criticize. I think बाकी तो तुम लोग समझ लोगे. To strain one's thoughts to the most. I think the C statement is incomplete. Moving to the next one. And this reminds me of a pizza box, but the other way around. A round pizza in a square box. So, guys, contrary to the popular belief, I think most people went with option A, but A is not the answer. It does not mean an impossible task. It actually means that a person who is unsuited to the position he fills. इसका मतलब ये है कि in place of a horse, I have hired a donkey. कुछ समझ में आया? It was a square peg, ठीक है? And you are trying to make it fit into a round hole. That means a person who is unsuitable for the position that he has filled. That is the answer. C. It's not an impossible task or a scheme that never works. It's C. Now, this is one word substitution. So, you are supposed to read the sentence and find the one word which best substitutes the sentence. Any answers for the 95th one? Okay, people or animals of a place that have been the earliest there from known times. When I talk about ancestors, ancestors are people from whom one is descended. No, this is not the answer. The answer is also not immigrants because immigrants are people who come from different countries and they finally settle in a particular country forever, permanently. And yes, Yashwardhan, you are the one who's right. Answer is C, aboriginals. क्योंकि यहाँ पे बोला गया था earliest there from known times. Natives are people born in a particular place. ठीक है, बट यहाँ पे earliest से कोई रिलेशन नहीं है. So, moving to the next one. Always remember when they ask you the question, a person who is exceptionally good, especially in the field of art. It could be music, it could be movies, it could be filmmaking, it could be anything related to art. So the word for that is a virtuoso. What's the meaning of adept? Adept means skillful. But the answer is virtuoso. Virtuoso is somebody who is exceptionally, extraordinarily great, especially at music, any artistic art form. So, yeah. An anxious and eager concern for someone. I think the meaning of worry and goodwill, pretty much everybody knows. It's the word elation. Elation means extreme happiness. So, can elation be the answer? The answer is solicitude. When you show a very eager, deep concern for somebody, it is solicitude. Okay. A cowardly and unfaithful person. पहली बात तो miscreant. Miscreant is a wrongdoer, but does not mean a cowardly person. A mendicant is a beggar. So a fancy word for a beggar. Pervert is somebody whose thoughts are corrupted. So what should be the answer? The answer is recreant. Yes. When we talk about a fixed plan of food, sleep, etc., I think ये तो बहुत ही common सा word है. Most people already know. The answer should be a regimen. We follow a regimen. When I follow a strict diet, a strict routine, that means I have a regimen in place. The answer of allidate. Allidate means a pointing device. Okay? By the way, these words are important words, so it's imperative that you note it down. Once you are done, let me know. I'll take you to the next slide. Okay. Super easy. Something every reader must have read. You might have heard of a prologue, right? Usually written in the beginning of a novel. And that's exactly what our answer is. An introduction that comes before something we say or write. It's a prologue. But what is a premonition? Does anybody know the meaning of the word premonition? It's a strong feeling that something bad is about to happen, kind of like an intuition, bad or unpleasant. Okay? A strong feeling that something bad is about to happen. मुझे बुरी फीलिंग आती है. Yes, an omen. बिल्कुल सही. So we are talking about a steep or almost upright side of a high rock mountain or cliff. That is actually precipice. The answer is precipice. Nadir and zenith, they are opposites of each other. One means the lowest point, and this means the highest point, also known as heaven. And an abyss is a deep, bottomless gulf. Something so deep that it's very difficult to come out of it. So that is an abyss. Yes, that's why zenith is referred to sky because we are talking about the heaven. This is the last question, but if we still have more time, we can go to two, three questions in the middle and then call it a day. And yes, you guys are correct. The answer is characteristic of children or young people. You might have heard of juvenile delinquents, right? The answer is D. And yes, Ananya, definitely we'll see two, three questions more. By the way, leonine means something which is related to Leo. Leo is lion. Puerile is immature, silly. You might wonder that even C could be the answer, but the thing is, not necessarily every child or young person is immature or silly. That's why. ठीक है? तो इसीलिए the answer is characteristic of children or young people, juvenile. अगर हम यंग लोगों की बच्चों की बात कर रहे हैं तो it is juvenile, right? So we'll see few more questions before we call it a day. Do you want to do grammar? Yes. You're supposed to find out the error part. You wanted to match the following. ठीक है फिर वही कर लेते हैं. More vocabulary. Yes. By the way, the answer to that was the second one. B had an error. It should be I were interested, not I was interested. Yashvardhan, do you want to do grammar? तो चलो फिर 75 ही कर लेते हैं. Let's discuss that only. Okay. All right, Yash. So moving to, I pretended as if I were interested. See, there are some situations where we use were, okay, with I. So usually I के साथ हम क्या use करते हैं? Was. But there are certain situations like hypothetical situations. यहाँ पे भी थोड़ा बहुत hypothetically है क्योंकि वो pretend के बारे में बात कर रही है. She's pretending to listen, although she wasn't interested. So hypothetical का मतलब होता है something which is based on fantasy. Okay. Then when we are talking about wishful thinking, for example, if I were a billionaire, this is wishful thinking. तो ऐसे कुछ केसेस होते हैं जहाँ पे we use not was but were. तो यहाँ पे भी we were talking about how she's pretending. So that is giving rise to hypothetical situation. She's pretending to listen to that conversation. ठीक है? See, vocabulary is a vast sea, and all you can do is try your best. So I would recommend you to like have a very strict routine where you are going through at least 20, 25 new words every single day and very religiously practicing them. See, the idea is to read those words at least 5 to 6 times in the entire day. एंड ऑल्सो इट्स इनकॉर्पोरेशन. तो वोकेबलरी याद करने का सबसे अच्छा तरीका यही है कि द मोर यू स्टार्ट यूजिंग इट इन योर डे टू डे लैंग्वेज, द मोर इक्विप्ड यू आर विथ न्यू वर्ड्स. इट काइंड ऑफ बिकम्स नॉर्मल फॉर यू इन दैट केस. तो अगर तुम लोगों को लग रहा है कि मैं इंग्लिश में तो किसी से बात ही नहीं करता या नहीं करती एंड सडनली इट विल साउंड सो वियर्ड, but the thing is you can even use those English words even if you are speaking in Hindi. It's totally fine. हिंदी में अगर तुम्हें लगता है कि this is the perfect situation to use a particular word, please feel free to do that. And that's exactly how you become better at vocabulary. The pretend will come only when we are talking about present tense. But she pretended to listen to the conversation, although she wasn't interested. That is past tense. I think there is a very tiny error in this particular statement, and most people know the answer. I don't usually like staying at hotels, but last summer we spent a few days at a very nice hotel by the sea. An article is missing. So the erroneous part is option C. Exactly. Very good. And this is the last question for the day, guys. So I'll try to be on time, but do not worry. Wrong usage of word if I am late. So the error is in the C part. And this brings me to the end, the culmination of today's session. I hope you guys enjoyed and learned something new. And I hope this was productive for you. Do let me know in the chat box. And thank you so much for your time. Please go through these words. Please revise the new words that you have learned today. That is definitely going to help you, become better. So, yeah, that's it from my side. Thank you so much. See you soon, hopefully, and all the very best for your exam. Bye bye. By the way, somebody has asked me like what is the weightage of vocabulary. So vocabulary का weightage काफी high है, vocabulary as well as grammar. Uh, RC passages का weightage कम रहता है यहाँ पे, hardly like two passages, 2 to 3 passages. Mostly the questions would be from vocab as well as grammar. So yeah, be prepared for that. Thank you. Bye bye. See you again. Have a great day, everyone.